Carnival Mardi Gras has a brand new cruise director. Royal Caribbean releases an update to their on-ship protocols for the second half of next month. We have an update for you on the next ship to restart for MSC Cruises. Plus, we detail an article from an experienced cruiser who answers the question of why they feel safer right now on a cruise ship than in their own hometown. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and I'm so glad to have you here today. If you don't already know, we are in the middle of our cruise swag giveaway to celebrate my upcoming cruise on MSC Divina in just 4 days from now. The prizes for this week's giveaway include the 2-pack of Cruise On cruise lanyards. Also, a fan favorite item is in this week's giveaway. We have the travel passport holder that now includes a COVID card sleeve. If you'd like your chance to win both of these items, I will include a link in the description below or up here if you're on a mobile device. That video will tell you everything you need to know to enter. And if you just can't wait to get your hands on this cruise swag or any of the totally awesome cruise swag we've given away over the last month on the channel, there are Amazon affiliate links in the description below. Just clicking the link does support the channel. Thank you so very much. Now, as we get started on the cruise news for this week, I want to first say a huge thank you to what is undoubtedly the best audience on all of YouTube. That is you, the Midships family. Because together you guys are breaking all the records. We had a goal of 3,000 subscribers on the channel by the end of September. And lo and behold, you all stepped up and beat that goal by nearly a week. Thank you so very much. That's awesome news. Now the benefit to that is we're going to be able to do so much more with the channel going forward, to include things like live streaming from all of my upcoming cruises or having a weekly sit down with the Midships family. Now, as most of you know, I'm departing this Thursday on the MSC Divina out of Port Canaveral. And with MSC on my mind, I thought what better time than to give you a quick update about their next ship that's coming back in service in the United States. From cruiseindustrynews.com, an update for the MSC Cruise fleet restart. MSC is racing back into service, with the MSC Meraviglia and Divina having already returned to operations out of Florida, while company ships are also sailing in Europe and the Middle East. And the ship to note that we're going to highlight in today's Midships episode will in fact be the MSC Harmonia. She is due to homeport out of Miami. She'll be sailing 4-night itineraries over the cruise line's private island as well as to Key West. And she will be officially back in service starting November 1st of this year. So that's awesome news for everyone looking to experience a new ship out of Miami. We're just over a month away from MSC Harmonia's restart. Now, Royal Caribbean has been posting updates to their onboard and pre-boarding protocols for their cruise ships for the month of October. And they've released updated protocols now for anyone sailing on board their ships between October 16th and the 31st. Let's go ahead and dive into those now from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. By author Matt Hochberg, Royal Caribbean releases cruise ship health protocols for all U.S. sailings for the second half of October. The cruise line had released October protocols for sailings for the first half of the month, but now we have protocols for the second half as well. These protocols apply to any Royal Caribbean ship sailing from a U.S. homeport between October 16th and 31st of 2021. Here is what Royal Caribbean has planned for passengers sailing the second half of October. All guests 12 and older must bring proof of full vaccination, such as their CDC COVID-19 vaccine record card, with their final dose having been administered at least 14 days prior to sailing. All guests aged 2 and older must present a negative PCR or antigen test result. For vaccinated guests aged 12 and older, this test must be taken no more than 2 days prior to sailings. Any unvaccinated children between 2 and 11, the test must be taken no more than 3 days prior to sailing. There are no tests required for anyone under the age of 2. And Matt Hochberg from Royal Caribbean Blog notes that pre-cruise testing costs and scheduling are solely the responsibility of the guests. And I'd like to add even more to that. If you're a vaccinated cruiser, you should 100% be looking at the cruise line's take-home self-test options. If you'd like to learn more about the self-tests, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because in just 2 days, I will be demonstrating the entire process of at-home self-testing using the Abbott Binax Now eMed test kits that I purchased a few weeks ago. On board the ships, unvaccinated guests between 2 and 11 will take a complimentary antigen test prior to debarking the ship. Depending on the sailing length, there may be additional testing as well. If you're traveling with anyone unvaccinated in your party, you'll be required to purchase your shore excursions through the cruise line to go ashore, unless the cruise makes a stop at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Okay, we don't really get into that fight here, but you guys are welcome to in the comment section. Masks will be required in the terminal at check-in and on most locations inside the ship, but there are certain areas where masks will not be required, such as open air areas of the ship, unless crowded, in the pool or any water-based activity, at venues designated for vaccinated guests only, like bars, lounges, restaurants, or shows, as well as in your stateroom and on the cruise line's private island. Also of note, areas like the theater, spa, or fitness center are open to everybody, but you need to pay attention to when they are open to certain individuals. As of last Saturday, the Carnival Mardi Gras has a new cruise director. We'll tell you what happened and why there's someone new. CruiseIndustryNews.com. Popular cruise director back on board Carnival Mardi Gras. Carnival cruise director Mike Pack officially rejoined Carnival Cruise Line's Mardi Gras last Saturday in Port Canaveral, giving Mike and his wife, former Carnival cruise director Emma Nixon, time to enjoy their newborn baby. Chris, the Flying Scotsman Williams, has been serving on board Mardi Gras as the cruise director since the ship entered service on July 30th. And we have a quote from the new director, Mike Pack. Over the last few weeks, I've been training and getting familiar with all things Mardi Gras. And although I was excited before, it doesn't compare to how thrilled I am now to be back with our guests and our amazing crew. I want to thank Chris Williams for his amazing leadership thus far and the incredible reception our guests have had for Mardi Gras, and the ship's entertainment makes this moment that much more special. Let's get this party started. Carnival said their new cruise director, Mike Pack, is adored by guests for his energetic and infectious personality, making everyone feel like a family. He has a long-standing commitment to the line. So that's pretty interesting. If you've already sailed on board Mardi Gras, you now have a chance to hop back on the ship and have potentially a totally different cruise experience. Pretty sweet, I'd say. Now, over the past several months, we here at the Midships channel have been adamant that cruising is one of the, if not the actual safest way that you can travel during the pandemic. And we have an article that we're going to go over by someone who's cruised multiple times in 2021 that helps make that point even better than we could. From thepointsguy.com, written by Gene Sloan. Why I feel safer now on a cruise ship than in my own hometown. Gene begins, maybe I should just move onto a cruise ship full time. It surely would take away some of my COVID worries, and I do worry about COVID probably more than I should, given that I'm fully vaccinated. As I've seen firsthand on multiple cruises in the last few months, cruise ships have become like a floating escape from the pandemic zones. Thanks to what some may consider insanely strict COVID rules, they are places where you are likely to be surrounded almost entirely by people who are COVID-free. This is, of course, an about-face from the way cruise ships were in early 2020 when the pandemic began. Back then, as anyone who even remotely follows the news knows, the illness ran rampant through some vessels. As experienced firsthand, the situation on board cruise ships now is far different than it was 18 months ago. In the last few months, Gene, as head of the Points Guys cruise team, has spent nearly half of his days, more than 50 aboard cruise vessels, large and small, documenting the industry's return to operations. After what Gene has seen on cruise ships and comparing it to what he's seen at home, there's not much doubt in his mind about which environment presents more risk right now. Gene says being home is more risky by a mile. If he had to pick one place to be, ship or shore, to feel most safe during this new era, it would be on a ship, hands down. So before we hear about why Gene thinks it's so much safer on a cruise ship right now, I'm so glad to hear industry experts are finally starting to put this information out there about just how different it is to cruise versus any other method of travel. Just think about it. I'm going to be on an airplane in like 12 hours, and I have no clue who's going to be sitting next to me, if they're vaccinated or not, and how careful they've been over the last couple weeks. Whereas when I board my cruise on Thursday, I know that every single person that I'm surrounded with has been tested or vaccinated, and that the cruise line will be checking up on them during the entirety of my cruise. As noted above, cruise lines have instituted some insanely strict new policies. At many lines, these new rules include a requirement that everybody on the ship is vaccinated, both crew and passengers. That means the vast majority of people that you come in contact with aboard a cruise ship will in fact be COVID-free. By contrast, in Jean's home state of North Carolina, fewer than 50% of the population are even vaccinated at all. So Jean would like to note that despite the vaccination rates and the testing, it doesn't mean that every ship will always be 100% COVID-free. In some cases, the pre-cruise tests could miss someone who's just been exposed to COVID and has such a low amount of virus in their system that they test negative. But he goes on to say that regular testing from the cruise lines seems to be doing an overall good job to catch most of the COVID positive cases on board. I think this is an absolutely fantastic article that Jean Sloan has written, and I'm going to share it with you down in the links below. There's so much more of it that we didn't even cover in today's episode, but I would invite you to read up on it if you're on the fence about taking your cruise or not during 2021. One more thing to note before we wrap up today, it's the last week that you can book for double points on board Royal Caribbean for any cruise you take next year. So make sure you hop on over to their website. You have until September 30th to get that booking in. And the coolest thing is, if you're a solo cruiser in one of their cabins, you're actually going to accrue 4 points per night that you sail. Totally awesome. If you made it this far into today's video, make sure you're subscribed down below. Also, it'd be totally awesome if you could hit the thumbs up button for us. Yesterday's video, we bribed you with a kitty cat, and we're getting very close to buying that cat a new toy. And the response from you guys absolutely shone through because we got twice the normal views that we typically see on a Midships video. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and until next time, we'll see you on the Midships.